Breast cancer, a disease that does not discriminate. It affects regular, everyday people. Mothers, secretaries, teachers, right here in the Tyler Independent School District. Cancer is the second leading cause of death for Americans, exceeded only by heart disease, that according to the American Cancer Association, with an estimated 1 million cancer diagnoses expected this year, of which 192,000 people are diagnosed with breast cancer.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
How are you today? Very good. Very clear lungs. Just breathe normally. You look good. You look really good. You know, these days we're not talking about cancer victims. In the 70s we used to call them cancer victims. Now we call them cancer survivors. Because you can live with cancer, even if it's not curable, you can live with cancer. So you can have a breast cancer stage 4 that's not curable, and we can control the growth and have good quality of life.
When you hear the news that you or someone close to you has been diagnosed with breast cancer, it can be overwhelming and shocking.
The doctor called me and asked me to come to his office that morning. So my principal allowed me to go down and meet with him. At 10:45, I was sitting in his office with him, August the 15th, August the 10th of 1995, and he told me that I had breast cancer. And I disagreed. I told him that I felt like we needed to redo the test. And he told me that he didn't think we did, that I needed to meet with a surgeon. So I asked him if we could have the results read again by someone else, and he didn't believe that was necessary.
I was just going along my merry old life, and then I get this letter, and it seemed like all of a sudden, you know, you've got cancer. And I'm like, but I didn't feel any different yesterday. It's just something that's so difficult to accept.
Since the 90s, statistics continue to prove breast cancer is no longer a death sentence. Early detection is saving lives.
Breast cancer is not a deadly illness anymore. It's a curable disease, it's a treatable disease, it's a potentially preventable disease. So that's what we have to inspire our women, because a lot of them are so afraid because they think it's over. So they don't come to medical attention. And we have to break that myth.
My doctor would be the first to say that I was kind of scared, and emotionally you think cancer. But I know that I had a high-grade cancer, and 9 years later, God is still keeping me. If I had chosen to be sad forever, doing the treatment and everything, well then I feel like that I would have been, you know, just down and not feeling well. But anybody that knows me, I was up. I took my treatment one day. If I took it on Tuesday, you couldn't catch me on Wednesday.
Reports show 2.5 million survivors live here in the United States. Ms. Searles, an English teacher at Robert E. Lee High School, is one of them. If gone undetected, doctors said she would have been dead in 6 months. 5 years later, she's still living.
I went to her home and we cried together. 2 weeks later, I was told that I also had breast cancer. I felt as if my world had come to an end. Little did I realize that my world and life would never be the same.
You know, and I just lived as if I was going to die. You know, and then I told my husband, I said, if I go back and this cancer, you know, they can't do anything, I said, I'm taking out all of my teacher's retirement and we are going to travel. I mean, I was just planning my life to die. But they went in and they got the cancer. They said they got all of it. I guess they did, because 6 months ago I had a tumor and in my uterus, and everybody here thought that it was cancer. Again, they sent me to Baylor. I don't know why I can't stay in Dollar Day, but they sent me to Baylor, and I had to have an operation, so I have a big scar now, in addition to the other scars that I had, to always remind me that I had this, and I was faced with cancer again, they thought. But by the grace of God and prayers of my friends and my church and everybody here at Robert E. Lee were just so nice and everything, it was not even cancer when they took out the tumor. They said it was not cancer, so I just, you know, I escaped it twice.
Some of the risk factors associated with the disease include, but are not limited to, changes in certain genes, family history of the disease, having more than 2 alcoholic drinks a day, and being overweight. And those are just some of the risks. So what happens if you do everything right and identify with none of the risk factors?
Time that I was diagnosed, I fit into absolutely none of those categories. None. I did eat right, I did exercise, I did try to make the right lifestyle choices to be able to live a good full life. It was 5 years after I was diagnosed that we finally found the link between men with prostate cancer and their daughters with breast cancer. My father was a prostate cancer survivor, did not die from prostate cancer. He died from heart attack and stroke.
If we knew the whole story, then we would not be having breast cancer at all. So we just know that certain things contribute to increase your risk. So we want to minimize that risk. We need to educate our girls in high school how to self-examine, how to exercise, how to eat healthy. That's when you start. You know, when they're in the 30s, 40s, they already have the habit.
Support from the Tyler community through organizations such as the Susan G. Komen Foundation help bring awareness. The foundation is responsible for the largest 5K run walk in the world, with 75% of the proceeds staying right here in the Tyler community to aid in breast cancer research, education, and treatment.
It touches people, and they, I think, recover and heal by bonding with other women that have been through the same thing they have. I think one of the things that you learn is not to take life for granted. We have a survivor that's just gotten involved with us that's actually a teacher with TISD, and she was 25 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so, I think that women are so resilient and fight so hard for their lives and for this cause. And once they've been touched by cancer, whether it's them personally or a family member, they are so inclined to just give as much as they can back.
Survivors helping other survivors can be used as a type of treatment too. In support groups like the one Frida Harder started at the Tyler Cancer Center, women see for themselves they are not fighting this disease alone. To make it on this journey, they need each other and the mindset of taking life one day at a time.
The most important thing, and the thing that's meant the very most to me, is to be able to develop relationships and meet women who are battling this disease. When you fight cancer, you reach into the very depths of your soul to be able to do that. People talk about, you're so courageous, you're so this, you're so that, but they're fighting from their very core to fight the disease. And when women are doing that, it's an incredible journey. Had one friend who was a breast survivor who was diagnosed with breast cancer 5 times. 5 times. She lost the battle, but what a fight.
Through my treatment process, especially when I was taking chemo, I found that breast cancer patients and cancer patients in general are somewhat fraternal because you bond with so many people there who are going through the same thing, and that helps. It's a little depressing at times, but it does help, and you give each other strength.
A lot of people that I went to therapy with, chemotherapy and radiation, I had to have both, are dead now. In fact, one of my friends died not long ago that I met at the clinic when we were going in every day, and she didn't survive it. I mean, she didn't make it. And so I feel like I've been chosen to carry on and to say that if you have the grace of God and the belief that everything will be all right, it will be all right. She didn't tell people about her cancer. She didn't tell her church. She didn't tell other folk. And I was out telling everybody. I would be at the drugstore and somebody said, "Oh, I have cancer." And I was just telling everybody.
Eventually, we're not going to have breast cancer. It's going to be like plague or leprosy or smallpox. That we don't deal with it anymore. But it's going to take time. It's going to take research. It's going to take a woman to come to medical attention as soon as they have something, so we can cure patients and we can live long life. I don't want my daughter to go through something like this.
Pink is not just for the month of October. Every day we must remember those who lost the fight, those who are still fighting today, and those who will one day enter the ring. After all, we are all in this fight together to find a cure. But until then, hope, seems to be keeping these women alive.
I have probably 100 pink ribbons. And the ribbon that I choose to wear every day, and I try to wear it every day of my life, says hope. And I believe that hope is where all of this comes from. I believe that no matter what our problem is, as long as we can find hope, and many times we have to look for that hope. We have to look for it. We have to talk to other people. We have to find strength through others. We have to depend on people around us to give us that hope sometimes.
You know, people get up and we take things for granted, you know, but I look at every day as a gift to be able to get into the bath and to wash, because when you have cancer and you have an operation, sometimes you can't use your body, you know, your arm or anything like that. So just to be able to get up and do little simple things is just a gift. And people take things for granted that I don't take for granted anymore.
Up to date, they say that I am in remission. And I'm thankful, I'm blessed, you know, for having been given that diagnosis, because so many people that I sat next to in the chemo chair said that they are there for life, and some of them said they were expected to live about 2 years, 5 years.
Well, actually, I'm a young survivor. When I say that, ironically, I mean only 2 years, but I have been aggressively fighting it too. And the last diagnosis I had, it was all gone. And so I'm thankful for that.
In January, I go for my examination.
What are you expecting then to hear?
Nothing but good news. Nothing but good news.
We rejoice in our fight against cancer every day.
It's very important that we feel as one individual that we can change the life of another individual. And you're not changing the life of one person. If you tell someone a mammogram and that person gets picked up early and you save that person's life, that person is someone's mother, that person is someone's wife, that person is someone's sister. Think how many more lives you're going to affect. You know, Mother Teresa, when she was doing all the work in India, they said to her, you know, Mother Teresa, your work you do. She said, yeah, I know it's a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would be less without that one drop.